Can you see my screen?
You can.
Excellent. All right. So yeah, thanks again for the wonderful introduction. And I'm with Nature's Fynd, as Mahi said, and we are a food company for optimists. And I'd like to start with our origin story. And where Nature's Fynd has started was traced back to Yellowstone National Park. And the scientific founder, Dr. Mark Kozabal, was working on his PhD through Montana State University. And it was funded through NASA and the National Science Foundation. And what he was doing and what he was looking for under this project was looking for extremophile microorganisms within Yellowstone National Park that could grow in very diverse and very challenging conditions. And in Yellowstone, there's quite a variety of challenging environments and challenging conditions for microorganisms to grow into. And so as you can see here on the right is a picture of one of the most notable and probably the most popular geothermal feature besides Old Faithful. But this is the Grand Prismatic Spring. And the Grand Prismatic Spring is teeming with life, teeming with a lot of color. And a lot of that color comes from a lot of the amazing microorganisms that can grow in hot temperatures as well as low pH, so highly acidic environments. And what Dr. Mark Kozabal discovered was this mighty organism, right, with remarkable capabilities. And what it was a filamentous fungi. And it came out of this acidic spring that it was really consuming anything that was available to it. And so you'd have things that were growing next to it, like algae. You'd have things that would blow into it, like leaves. And this fungi has this unique ability to be able to transform itself to really digest and consume and thrive on anything that is available to it. And so as you can see on the right, this is a microscopy image of the organism that we call Fusarium strain Flavolapis. And as you can see in this close-up microscopy image, is that it's made up a lot of these filaments, right? And these filaments really organize themselves to create things that are very similar to fiber, right? And similar to like muscle fiber. And so one of the very unique capabilities and assets of Fusarium strain Flavolapis is that those fibers create a network that is very similar to that of muscle. So when you chew it and when you bite it, it's very similar to taking a bite of meat. And with Fusarium strain Flavolapis, we really think that this small but mighty organism has the opportunity and capability to revolutionize food. So after the discovery of Flavolapis, which is Latin for Yellowstone, we've developed a fermentation process where we can produce the organism at scale. And so when we do this, we grow it in a liquid media, and then it starts to form those filaments, and it creates like a semi-solid type product. And you can see in this photo that this is one form of it that we can produce, and it forms almost this kind of mat-like texture that can be cut up. It can be cut into like a whole muscle cut, like a steak or a chicken breast. It can also be homogenized or blended to create something like a milk that can be added into some of our non-dairy products. So when we grow the microorganism, when we grow this fungi, it kind of transforms from the Fusarium strain Flavolapis into the ingredient that we call Phi protein. And the Phi protein is essentially that product of the fermentation, but it is the whole biomass. And really the only difference is that we do a cooking step so that there isn't a live microorganism once you consume it. Now, as I mentioned, there's a lot of notable qualities to Phi protein and to Fusarium flavolapis. It is a new to the world protein platform. And what's remarkable about it is it provides complete nutrition. And it's got a taste and texture, as I mentioned, that is amazing for a whole variety of different foods. So you can see here is that Phi protein is about 45 to 50% protein, 25 to 35% fiber. It has 5 to 10% of largely unsaturated fats. And then there's also minerals, micronutrients, and vitamins. And what's very unique about Phi that is different than some other alternative proteins, especially plant-based proteins, is that Phi is a complete protein with all the 20 essential amino acids. Um, and it also is highly digestible. And so with protein, we talk about not only the amino acids, which is one part of the consideration of the quality of the protein, but also the digestibility. And so with the digestibility, not all proteins are created the same. And so when you look at animal proteins, a lot of those are very highly digestible, things like whey protein or casein protein from milk or from eggs. And then you have lower on the list that may be like peas, nuts, legumes. They'll have a little bit lower digestibility that may be around 60 to 70% digestible. What's also amazing is that there's dietary fiber. And so in the dietary fiber, what is it's unique is that there are beta glucans and prebiotic fibers that are good for your immune system, immune health, as well as gut health. What's very unique is that it is a complete food. And so you have your protein, your fiber, your fat, which can be very different compared to like a plant-based protein where you might just have the protein source or a concentrate protein, and then you have to add to other foods like fiber and fats back. What's incredible is that there's a very mild taste. And then, as I mentioned, emulsification properties, and there's a huge variety of applications that Phi can go into. Not only is Phi very nutritious, but it grows extremely quickly and it uses a very small portion of the inputs that are required to grow other types of food. So in growing in 3 days, you think about a comparison to how long it may take to grow a plant, right? Like maybe a pea or soy protein, it's going to take a whole season. It's going to take a lot of inputs from fertilizer to water to sun. If you think about animal-based proteins, even the fastest that something can grow, maybe chicken, can grow in 10 to 12 weeks. But if you think about a cow, you're talking about multiple years. Also incredible is that with Phi, we can grow it indoors. And so we grow it in a controlled environment where there's not the variables that might come from being outdoors, whether it be, wind or storms, excessive rain, excessive heat, or droughts. So we can control the growth of it and it grows very quickly. So as I mentioned, Phi is very versatile. And maybe I'll jump to this slide real quick first. But shows some of the versatility that every one of these food categories that you see here has Phi as an ingredient in it. So you have anything from like the burger patties that's made of Phi, the burger bun, where we can dry Phi into a dry powder, a flour, and we can create baked goods. We see desserts, we see cheeses, chicken nuggets, soups, right? So there's a huge variety of different foods that we can apply Phi to and create a nutritious and very diverse and memorable experience. So right now, what we have on the market is in three different food categories. And we have what you tried, the yogurt, and hopefully it was excellent. And we'll get hopefully a full review once I wrap up my presentation. We also have cream cheese, and we also have meatless breakfast patties. And so each one of these, they are do not have any animal proteins in them. They're all vegetarian, vegan foods, and they're highly nutritious. Um, Starting next year, we also have a few new exciting products coming out. So stay tuned for those. I have a quick kind of customer testimonial video here for you guys to watch.
This is vegan? Yeah.
Can you hear that
Yes, we can.
when I turn it on? Okay.
Wow, that's bomb. This is like cheese. It's very sharp, and it's amazing.
I think Nature's Fine nailed it.
There's no meat in this. I'm really surprised by that. It tastes like a regular sausage patty.
I'm not vegan, but these are really good.
This actually tastes like a meat.
I like normal breakfast sausage, and I somehow like this even more.
As a vegetarian who loves meat, I take this.
So hopefully your experience consuming the yogurt was just as memorable as those guys in the video.
This is vegan?
Oop. I think that's great. This is vegan, right? That's surprise. And maybe you too, right? That maybe you've had other plant-based or alternative protein products, and hopefully that ours is up there on your ranking list. So where can you get our products? Where can you get Nature's Find and our delicious and nutritious products? So we're in Whole Foods, Sprouts Farmers Markets, Fresh Time Market, Mariano's, and Berkeley Bowl in Berkeley, California. So we're in a little over 1,000 stores, and we continue to expand throughout the US. And we also have plans to launch internationally in the next 2 to 3 years. I think it's really cool to show and it kind of is a full circle part of the story is that the company started out of NASA research, and in the summer of 2022, in partnership with NASA, Montana State University, and the BioServe Space Technologies at the University of Colorado, we had built a small fermentation apparatus that you can see here in the photo with astronaut Jessica Watkins. And in that fermentation apparatus, what was done in the International Space Station was we were able to essentially turn that on, and there was some nutrients in it, and it fed the fungi, and it grew for 3 days. And then it had a heating step that essentially cooked the fungi. And then in the first test, they didn't open it up, and they did not eat it yet on the space station, but that's kind of the part 2 of the experiment. So what they did is they sent that apparatus back to Earth, and what they wanted to see is, did it grow in zero gravity the same that it grows in gravity on Earth? And it did. And it grew in the same fashion, and it was thrived extremely well, and provided the same nutritional profile that we see here on Earth. And just to end with it, we are finders, and we create amazing foods that nourish people and nurture the planet. And I will end there, and happy to take any questions.